Oh, 1 gram. Did that get us there? It didn't get us there. There we go. So that's 1,000. Well, now we're 1 gram over. But it's better to be over than under. Welcome to Manfred Makes Things, and today we're making sourdough. Well, we're making sourdough, the dough, but we're not really making the bread. So that's the last 1,000 grams of water needed for this 14 loaf batch I'm making of French country. Got to shake all the water out, believe it or not. It does accumulate on the bowl that I'm dumping this guy into. Obviously, this great big bin here, I can't quite just, put that on the scale because I think it weighs more than the scale's capacity. But anyhow, we'll just get the rest of that water out. And now we're going to add some salt, which is also fun. And I'll be right back. And there we are with 98 grams of salt, which is sea salt. And that just basically goes into this here as well. So I've actually got to, let's see here. I don't know what I'm doing. Nope, it's still recording. So what I'm going to do is now I have all these other containers, as you can see over here, that I need to get some water and salt into. I'm going to do that. Then the flour and the leaven get added to everything, and it's going to be really cool. I'll be right back. Check this out. That's our leaven. It's looking pretty active, hey? It's risen almost 100%, but in all honesty, this is good enough. I don't want to have this wait too much longer. It's looking pretty active, and we're gonna put some of this stuff. We're gonna take it over here to our weigh station, and we need 875 grams of this stuff. So that's what it looks like. Oh, beautiful. Just about there. So I'm actually just going to want to use both hands when I get close, because I'm pretty exact. You have to be if you have a set weight that your loaves should be based on the weight unbaked going in. So yeah, we'll just pause this for a second. And we're just going to dump that into our bin. Unfortunately, I need 2 hands though to grab a silicone spatula and get all of that lovely stuff out. So it's always smart to have a look at your scale after you've emptied the bowl. There's always going to be some that you just can't get off. So I actually don't mind having the weight of this being a couple, 2 or 3 grams over, because I know I'm not going to get all of it in the bowl. This is what you should actually be seeing, is all of this leaven floating on the water. So it's good to use a bowl, of course, for flour, because it's once again the container that I'm mixing my 14 loaves in. It's probably too heavy for this scale. So much like the water and the leaven, we're just going to mix everything in here instead. So I make this this type of bread with 3 kinds of flour. Now it's just a matter of good old-fashioned, you got it, elbow grease. It takes about, I'm going to say, close to 20 minutes for me to mix a batch like this and get it so that everything is mixed. I'm using a Danish dough whisk. That's the tool. It works quite well, but it takes some time. I actually finished this up, making sure I scrape the sides. I have this nice little spatula here, and I can get into all the nooks and crannies and corners of this massive container. And yeah, make sure that the dough all gets uniform, and that all of the water, all of the leaven in here, all of the hydration is completely mixed in with the dough. I used to autolyse, which is just mixing the water and the flour first, letting it sit for 1 to 2 hours and let those glutens develop. But I tried it once without having to do that, and in all honesty, I didn't really see any difference. So I removed a step, and in doing so, made my life a little bit easier. So you can see it's starting to really come together. It's starting to pull away a little bit from the sides of this container. Got a little bit more work to do though. Now that our dough is pretty much uniform, I'm going to go in with this guy and just do a bit of a scrape all the sides and try to bring all of the dough into the middle as much as I can. This is a sticky dough. I usually run around 85% hydration. So with that, you just have a dough that's a little bit more difficult to work with at times. But if you work with high hydration dough on a regular basis, like I have for the last 3 years, I suppose, you get used to it. And, you know, it's just another thing to do, take into consideration. I like a high hydration dough because I honestly love high hydration bread. To have a nice moist crumb is, you know, something that you really can't find in a lot of bakeries here in Calgary. Even the places that, you know, are specialty sourdough shops, they just, you don't find a hydration typically over 80%. So there's one place in town, and I won't name its name, but they kind of bill themselves as like, you know, they're sourdough and whatever. I've had their bread, and I'd be surprised if they were even running at 70% hydration. It's just really dry. So anyhow, I got to flip this around and do the other side. And there you have it. That is what dough for 14 loaves of sourdough look like. I'm going to put the cover back on this bad boy and go and mix up my other bowls that I have with the other varieties of sourdough that I'm making this weekend. And we'll come back for the, you know, working the dough. See you in a bit. Our dough's been resting for almost 45 minutes. So now what we're going to do is use this little fella here and try to pull all the dough away from the container as best as we possibly can. The nice thing about having enough work surface to put this container onto, which is also, well, it's on wheels, which is great, is the fact that it's quite easy to just have this workspace for this one container. I'm making 7 different kinds of bread this weekend, and this is the most loaves that I'm making. So being able just to get this guy to spin so we can work it from the other side, because I just find it easier to do it that way, really helps out. I know a lot of you probably don't have this kind of a thing in your kitchen. I've got 2, and then I've got another 2 downstairs in my bakery. This is unfortunately my actual kitchen is still part of my bakery. I'm not able to yet put a sink in the basement, and once I'm able to do that, then everything's going to be moved downstairs. I still have to slice my bread up here, and I still have to make my dough up here. But all the fun and the baking happens downstairs. Unfortunately, I can't show you just yet because I don't have a tripod or a head mount or something for my phone here. But I just worked this dough by essentially just kind of coming at it at the middle on both sides with both hands, and then you lift it up and you pull it towards you, and then you spin the box and you do it again, and then you do it again, then you do it again, and you do it until you start developing that gluten. You start getting some dough strength. Then you put the cover on, you set the timer, and 30 minutes later you're doing the same thing. Hey, we're back, and this is what I'll try to get out of the light here. This is what 14 loaves of French country sourdough looks like after 4 rounds of, I guess they're called, you know, lift and pulls, where you do that with each side of the dough, you know, a couple of times. just to, once again, get that dough strength, develop the gluten. And this bad boy is going into bulk fermentation. And it's actually going to sit in my bedroom with the AC on. The temperature today here in town was 27 or 28 degrees Celsius. So Fahrenheit, I think that's in the 80s. So my kitchen gets quite warm. Fortunately, once I can move everything down into the bakery in the basement, the temperature there is at least 5 degrees Celsius cooler. And I wouldn't have to, put my bulk fermenting loaves into an air conditioned bedroom if I was developing the dough down in the basement. But that's the way it goes. So we'll be right back. Once again, I'm going to put this guy in bulk ferment. And yeah, that'll be that. And there you have it. I like to put all of my dough into these nice food safe Cambro containers because they have these lovely level markings. I like to bulk ferment my dough to about 50%. And I like to control the temperature on it as best as I possibly can. Like I said, today was really warm. This dough is a little bit warm for me to leave out and bulk ferment in my kitchen with the temperature as it is right now. But I know that by putting it into my bedroom with the air conditioning on, it will be a lot longer of a rise, which is great for a number of reasons. But also, when you're putting 32 loaves of sourdough into 3 different fridges, you will raise the temperature of the refrigerator if the temperature of the dough is as high as it would be if I left it here in the kitchen. So yeah, I'm gonna go do that. And the other loaves are already in my bedroom. Like I said, making 32 tomorrow. And thanks a lot for watching. I really appreciate it. Manfred Makes things. I'll be making more things, not just food, but a lot of other stuff too. And this is number 1. Sorry, the phone is all I've got at the moment. I do have a good camera with a tripod. I don't have the computing power, however, for really good software, so I'll figure something out. But till then, thanks so much for watching. Really appreciate it. And we'll make something soon.